You're listening to the Sports Circus, and I'm Mike Golick.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the MTV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Angus and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, the king of all those cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes, best I've ever had. Hell, even those half-pound Wagyu burgers are easily the best I've ever had. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner, 714-948-0100, 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. All right, a big welcome in everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. Everybody tuning in on our affiliates, thanks as well. Plus, everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, WOW, and Charter Cable affiliates, plus independents where applicable. Thanks for joining us also on Hotel TV, again, where applicable, plus Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Check that out, folks. A fun food group. Talk about your favorite restaurants, favorite recipes, your favorite foods, and hell, make some friends, have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. All right. By the way, our friends over at Vacation Buddies are giving away a couple of nights to either Las Vegas, Branson, Missouri, or Orlando, Florida. If you can answer a very simple trivia question, here it is. Which NBA superstar has won 6 NBA championships? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Again, which NBA superstar has won 6 NBA championships? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? Again, if you know the answer, 888-576-5777. Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with this station, but they sure want to give you a couple of nights in either Las Vegas, Branson, Missouri, or Orlando, Florida. Answer the question, 888-576-5777. Call them now. All right, folks. So I got something for you today. You know, I think of a lot of these games that are seemingly compromised. We'll say it in a very delicate way. I think the games, in many cases, as I've been told by certain personnel from the National Football League, former players, I should say, from the National Football League and other sports, specifically the NFL, that certain games have been compromised. All the way since the very beginning. That's right, since the very beginning. Why? Because the National Football League is what? It's an entertainment company. Apparently, that's what's on their corporate charter. Somebody once told me that. I don't know. I'm not a part of that rodeo. But a former player, a Super Bowl champion player, had specifically said on this show that the games are fixed. So you ask these questions and you ask yourself, what is really going on with these games? What is happening in the games? I don't know. What about baseball games? Now, it sure seems to me baseball games have certainly had their challenges. The games have, I don't know, I'm not going to say they're fixed, but boy, I sure see the umpires squeezing the pitchers at very strategic times. And we've already done shows about percentages and percentages called properly, etc., and so forth. However, it seems like those games have been a little questionable, kind of like we saw in the NBA with Tim Donaghy, who was actually on this show and talked about game fixing. And Tim went to prison for 13 months. He said he got beat up every day in prison. And I guess prison is no good place for cheating referees, I suppose. But anyway, but the NBA games have also been fixed as well in the past. I don't know what's going on in today's time. My point is there is some compromising, and I would even say that the referees in the National Hockey League conveniently call for certain players and certain teams. It's painstakingly obvious. As a matter of fact, we've even proven this in certain shows here. We've read some statistics about certain teams and getting certain calls. We did the same thing in baseball, same thing. And we found out the New York Yankees in baseball get a lot more calls than some of the other teams. Namely, we said the Kansas City Royals, we took a previous playoff matchup and we went through all the statistics, and it was really interesting. So we ask, what is real? What about the WNBA? And I brought this up recently. The WNBA does allow their players to date one another. Now, what happens if the players are dating and they're on opposite teams? What if they're covering each other? What if there's a fix going on? We're going to go ahead and we're going to take it easy on this one here, and we're going to make sure that this one gets the points that they need to do what they need to do. I don't know, folks. I asked the question because nobody else has the you-know-what to ask the questions. And so think about that idea. There's betting on everything, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, hockey, golf, tennis, whatever. And when the players happen to be potentially dating one another, who is to decide? Are the odds makers actually putting this in on their estimate for the point spread for a game? Who knows? I don't know. I'm not an odds maker, but I am Sell the Bookmaker, and I certainly know how to handicap certain games. But when there is a relationship involved, it would seem to me that the possibility of the outcome would sure potentially have the ability to be compromised. And so with all of that said, is the WNBA legit? I don't know. We certainly know we have the Caitlin Clark effect. We know for sure that she has a profound impact on the NBA or WNBA, well, the NBA as well. And Caitlin Clark is the one really driving the revenue behind that WNBA league that seems like it's been sputtering about for years and years and years. What about tennis? Is there any tennis fixing? I don't know. I don't know enough about tennis. I mean, the only tennis that I play is I play tiny tennis. That's right. I know how to play tiny tennis, which is otherwise known as ping pong. And not to be confused with pickleball, which pickleball just seems like it's one large ping pong game of sorts with some different rules. I don't know. They don't use a regular tennis ball. I think they use something that sort of resembles, I guess, the spin of maybe a ping pong ball, unlike a wiffle ball, which has the holes in it, which you can make that thing curve wildly. But I guess my question is pickleball fixed? I don't think so. Is tennis fixed? Who the hell knows? Is golf fixed? There have been some questions about golf fixing in the past for certain players to do less than their ability just so other players could conveniently, I guess, continue on with their big comebacks and their Hall of Fame careers and stuff like that. Again, I'm not a part of that, but it sure seems reasonable. What about cricket? You know, cricket, you could score 100 runs in one at bat, and I absolutely love cricket because there's no time. It's over when it's over. That's how baseball used to be. Cricket is one of those games where you could literally score 100 times in one turn, and I love that. And the pitcher is actually called a bowler in cricket, but unlike bowling, of course, they don't bounce the ball in. Well, some people actually bounce the ball in bowling, right? Which is kind of ridiculous. But those two-handed bowlers, that's almost like cheating as I see it, because they're getting revolutions on the ball that one-handed bowlers typically don't get, which drives through the pins a little bit differently. And we could talk bowling another time. My mother was a touring pro, so I know a little bit about bowling. And yes, I have bowled a 300 game as well. Yes! Of course, I give myself the long applause for that just because it's very hard, folks. It's very, very hard to bowl a 300 game. I don't even know what the odds are, but 12 strikes in a row in one game is pretty tough. Now, I did it between two different games previously, but this is not about me. This is just about game fixing. You can't fix that. I mean, the pins are going to fall when they're going to fall. They're going to fall how they're going to fall. Depends on how you hit the pocket. If you hit it square, you're going to leave a 7 or a 10 pin possibly, or a solid 8 or a 9 pin. But anyway, this goes back to the game fixing idea. And I'm going somewhere with this, folks. In the next segment, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to take a deeper dive into this. But when we look at the possibility of game fixing, we have to think about honesty, integrity, the laws. What are the laws that surround these sports? Right? There's bribery acts and all kinds of neat stuff out there. But in the NFL, you ask yourself, is there any kind of law? Apparently there is some sort of law, whatever. And that's why Tim Donaghy went to prison, for example, in the NBA for fixing games. So there is some enforceable law. But remember, for example, the NFL is an entertainment company. And so I guess my bigger question is, as we watch the games on the weekend, on the weekdays, the weeknights, after work, whatever, we're sitting around having a beverage with our friends or having dinner with our friends, watching the game, because that's what happens around the world. I'm not just going to say it's an American pastime. That's what happens everywhere, seemingly. And so how many of these games are honest? What about before the games? Before the games, what do we have? We have the news, then we have game shows and stuff like that. How many of the game shows do you think have been compromised? Folks, we're going to talk a little bit about that when we come back from break. Got some pretty interesting stuff here. Don't go anywhere. Last word to come right here on the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. B-E-E-P-I-N autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UppercutChops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. Folks, make sure you check them out. All right, a big welcome back to everybody listening in on our affiliates, television, radio, and of course, big hello to our friends over in Atlanta, WDJY 99.1 FM. Over in Atlanta, thanks for waking up with us. Our friends over in Auburn, Alabama, thanks for driving home with us on WAUD, home of the Atlanta Braves. Also, welcome into everybody up and down the Midwest, all the way out to the West Coast, driving on Interstate 15 between sunny Southern California and Las Vegas on Highway Country Radio, 101.5 FM and 107.3 FM. Thanks for joining us there, as well as up and down the West Coast, up to Seattle. Big hello to our friends in Anchorage and down to Honolulu, CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the 49ers, the New York Yankees, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Plus, hello to everybody that is streaming on Amazon, Audible, and Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Stitcher, Deezer. I know I'm missing one or two in there, but nonetheless, big hello to everybody there, as well as everybody on Hotel TV and plus the cable operators in select markets. Folks, in case you missed it in the last segment, at the beginning of the show, there was a trivia question for a chance to pick up a couple of nights in Las Vegas, Branson, Missouri, or Orlando, Florida. If you answer the simple question is, which NBA superstar has won 6 NBA championships? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? If you know the answer, 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Again, call 888-576-5777 if you know the answer, and that is from our friends over at Vacation Buddies. And listen, they don't work with us or the radio station itself, but guess what? They want you to pick up a couple of nights in Vegas or Branson, Missouri, or Orlando, Florida. So give them a call, 888-576-5777, if you know the answer to that simple trivia question. All right, moving on. So in the last segment, it was the question on fixing. And where was I going with this? Now, me personally, look, I watch game shows. I like game shows. And of course, I always think that the game shows are fun and they're interesting and people can win cash and prizes and all that other fun stuff, right? Then they get their game show host sound going too, right? So we have to add that. Right? So we have to make sure that okay, I got it. We have to make sure that the it's fun and it's interesting and whatever. But, my question is, look, I like to watch all kinds of game shows. They have their own network now and all kinds of neat stuff. And even in prime time on Pick Your Favorite Network channel, and still one of my favorites is Family Feud. I think a lot of people like Family Feud. I'm certainly not the only one, but I think plenty of people like Family Feud, and they have for decades. But I have some underlying questions. What's a little bit strange to me, now, and I've seen some things that I don't know if I can't explain it or I shall or shall not explain it. But what it seems to me, in some cases, that Family Feud has made, I guess, some things questionable. Let's just leave it like that. And so I pulled this off of MSN, and they say Steve Harvey is under pressure to keep Family Feud viewers tuning in. And of course, in recent months, Family Feud fans have complained about the show's survey questions and responses, with some racy questions and answers on the weeknight game show lately, is what they say. And critics are outraged, accusing producers of rigging the episodes. That's right, rigging the episodes. Of course. So, that's where the rigging from the first segment comes in. Now, many contestants are giving survey responses with sexual innuendo, and viewers are afraid that Family Feud is no longer family friendly. Steve Harvey and his producers are on high alert amid the harsh criticism, and they're working hard to whatever they can do to keep viewers continue to tune in. Now, a Family Feud insider recently spoke with Closer Weekly and revealed that, quote, fans are questioning who they're polling, and many of them are calling for more transparency, close quote. Now, this bit here from MSN says, Family Feud viewers think the show is fixed. Someone claiming to be a Family Feud insider stated, quote, some of the scenarios aren't making sense. It's harsh. It's a harsh way to put it, but people think it's fixed, close quote. Although Steve and the Family Feud producers maintain that they abide by the strict laws, that they are pressured to act because when fans are upset, they turn into, quote, online vipers and snappers, close quote. So, the tipster noted that the pressure is on to keep viewers watching nightly, and Steve is feeling that pressure, as are his producers. By the way, in case you don't know, Steve gets paid about $50K per episode. That's right, $50,000 per episode. Show me the money! That's nuts, folks. But you know what? We're going to give Steve a round of applause. We're going to do that because Steve does a pretty good job on air. I have no issues with Steve Harvey. I think he does a pretty damn good job. Now, the show is allegedly in a state of turmoil, and viewers aren't happy with how it's being run. Why are we talking about this on the show, on a sports show right now? Because we can, first of all. But second, it's competition. And this show breeds competition. And we love competition. We like chaos. We like competition. We like controversy. We like things that other people are too scared to talk about. So if you heard this on break, when we went on break, that's right. This show talks about things that other shows are too scared to talk about. So I'm bringing up game show, the possibility of game show fixing in the first place. That's right, just because I can. Now, if you don't like it, that's okay. Get over it, because I'm going to keep going on with this, and I think it is one hell of a topic that nobody wants to talk about, especially an American institution such as Family Feud. And I love Family Feud. I watch it every day. Multiple episodes every day. I watch it on the Game Show Network. That's right. All right, I'll give them a plug. All right, so there. I'll give you a little round of applause, too, just because we can. But the show apparently is having some issues. And, of course, the tipster says viewers are demanding to know who is being polled by Family Feud producer. Now, Steve Harvey apologizes to Celebrity Family Feud viewers for survey answers. Now, of course, one example of the franchise's controversial survey responses occurred during an episode of Celebrity Family Feud, and Meghan Trainor and Tori Kelly were among the celebrities participating in the episode, in which contestants were asked to name, quote, the greatest rapper of all time, close quote. Now, I have this piece here now. I don't know if this is going to play, but let's try it, folks. If there's something weird that happens in here, you'll know why. All right, here we go. This is an audio clip, and this is courtesy of YouTube. And name the greatest rapper of all time. This is a Family Feud piece here, so we make sure we give all credit where credit is due. Let's see if this actually works. Well, there's a commercial here first, so we're going to get rid of the commercial, and then we can skip it right now. Here we go.
This is on the board. Who is the greatest rapper of all time?
J. Cole.
J. Cole. Andre.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar. Ryan. Yes.
Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne. Okay, y'all tripping now. Okay, Kayla.
It's Tupac.
Tupac.
Great answer.
Oh, no, my answer would be Curtis Blow. He's the original.
Pass or play?
You play.
We're going to play.
You guys are so
He was the
Gen
first
Z.
rapper ever signed. In case you don't know that. Curtis is the king of the sports.
Yes.
Who is the greatest rapper of all time?
Let's go with Biggie.
Biggie.
go.
So my point in this, folks, I mean, look, they go through this, and as we go down, and we're going to read this from MSN, they say most participants failed to name the rappers on the survey board, which were revealed as Snoop, Tupac Shakur, and Eminem, Dre, LL, and Biggie, and 50, and Jay-Z, whatever. Most of the contestants were shocked by the answers, and so was Steve. So Steve joked to the crowd, quote, "Before we flip over these last three, I want to apologize to the entire hip-hop community. Jay-Z's last. What in Blake the world?" Close quote. So there was a problem with just that piece, but that's not the problem that I have. The problem that I have is with the statistics of who is winning, how they're winning, how many of those bonus rounds have they won, who is picking the answers. And now remember, these are digital boards technically, so they can be changed on the fly. The answers can be changed on the fly. And so I have questions about this, and my next set of questions are going to go into the bonus round after going through some basic stats so you can see where I'm going with this in the first place. Listen, folks, this is pretty interesting stuff. So again, it's competition, I guess in a sporting kind of way, for sure, because they're playing for cash and prizes. Back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Lots more to come. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. That's right. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello Americans, it's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a... You've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy... to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, recorded shows which can be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, iHeart, Stitcher, Deezer, plus others. Also, make sure you check out the partners page. Lots of great partners over there. One of those is our favorite. That's Al's number one Italian beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. That's Al's number one Italian beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. And if you can't make it over there for some great food, check them out at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. And you can read all about that menu and all those great sandwiches over there. Of course, the Italian beef sandwich is the flag. And they are the creators of it 117 years ago. And they've been in business since 1938. Check them out at alsbeef.com, folks. Boy, it is something special. And tell them the circus sent you. Yes! Yes! All right. All right, welcome back to everybody. Radio, TV, you know who you are. And in the last segment, I started to talk a little bit about Family Feud. I like Family Feud. Most people like Family Feud that watch television game shows. Well, how about this? How about Family Feud? A little bit of background. Of course, we know it's a popular game show where families compete by guessing the most popular answers to survey questions. Key statistics include a high success rate for the playing family when they choose to play, right? So if you pick your answer greater than the other one with the buzzer and you beat your person head to head, and if your team ends up playing, that means 78% of the time you end up winning after the buzzer round. And of course, a strong preference for playing. Very, very few people decide to pass. 99.9% decide to play, but once in a while, you'll see somebody that actually passes. Now, there's a significant difference in win percentage based on whether they clear half or more of the board. If you clear half of the board, the average win rate is 62%, right? So here are the game show analytics, right, for all you stat masters and whatnot out there. And of course, versus clearing over only 6 and 8 answers 6 through 8, for example, because there's 8 answers on the board. If you clear the bottom 3, then your win rate's about 45%. So now, again, that was the playing and passing and whatnot. Now, winning the buzzer round, of course, that was a 78%. That was actually according to DePaul University in Chicago. Now, clearing the board, families who choose to play, as I mentioned, and clear more than half of the board, they win 62% of the time. And that's according to a Medium article. How do you like that? Medium. Now, stealing, the steal success rate is really about 4 out of 10. So, listen, you're right around 50%, so that's not so bad. So you're really relying on the other family to make a mistake. And now missed responses. Survey responses ranked lower on the board have a higher miss rate. For instance, responses ranking 6 and lower are missed more than 50% of the time, according, again, to DePaul University. Hey, that's pretty good stuff. Now, all that stuff said, my question is that you'll see a family just go in and just kill it. Absolutely kill it. They seem to pick everything right, and they'll go marching through all the way to the bonus round. And then it seems like some weird things happen with the bonus round. Let's say the family has won on the first show. Then they are invited back for the second one, of course, because they're the defending champions. And then sometimes they win, sometimes they don't win the next time around on the bonus round, even though they have great answers. And it's very, very, very rare when a family will win all 5 games. So winning $100,000 on Family Feud is rare and typically requires winning, of course, 5 consecutive fast money rounds, which the prize money increases over time. And Family Feud's fast money round is the bonus round, of course, that everybody knows of, and you got to have 200 points and so forth. But difficulty can be manipulated. Now, the show's producers can make fast money easier or harder by choosing questions with high or low value top answers. This is the problem that I have it. So this is done for budgeting purposes. Aha, there's the fix. And to prevent families from winning the jackpot too frequently. Why would they do that when they have such big sponsors? They're in prime time. And now Family Feud, I'm a little ashamed of you. That's right. I'm a little ashamed of Family Feud that budgeting purposes and to prevent families from winning the jackpot rounds too frequently. I don't like the idea that the producers can manipulate the fast money for harder and easier questions, but higher or low value answers. That to me is absolute fixing. And I've seen this over year after year after year. How come this family, boy, they're just giving all the right answers. They're quick. They are quick, witty. They've got it. They're really sharp. But somehow, magically, they give the great answers in the bonus round, but they don't get shown the money. And frankly, it's embarrassing for the show's producers, in my opinion, that they would even consider the idea of choosing questions with high or low values for budgeting purposes. That's right, for budgeting purposes. And of course, back-to-back wins are rare, as I had alluded to when I started this, when I talked about this before. Yeah, you won the first game, but maybe the next bonus round you won't win. So back-to-back wins are rare. It's extremely uncommon to see the same family win fast money multiple times consecutively, conveniently that is, during the Steve Harvey era. Why is that? Is it that they pay Steve $50,000 an episode? $10 million a year? That's a lot of money. Maybe all their money goes to that. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not a part of that. But maybe they say, hey, we need to conserve and we don't want to just keep giving away $20,000, $20,000, $20,000. Now the prize money, of course, the standard fast money prize, $20,000, which is split among 5 family members. Winning $100,000, likely be winning all of them, is very, very rare. Now, I didn't know this, but there was something that I had read, and it said that the prize money was distributed somehow over a 90-day period. Now, I don't know. I've been in game shows before, and I, in fact, made the bonus round for a game show that I was in not too terribly long ago. And I had to wait for a check to come to me. And I beat all my competitors, right? Really good stuff. I beat my competitors and made it to the bonus round. Right, so I got just cash, no prizes. And I did have to wait about 6 weeks or so for a check to be mailed to me. That's the old checks in the mail, if you know what I mean. But anyway, so I guess Family Feud takes 90 days, up to 90 days to deliver their money. And maybe it's dependent on their budgeting purposes by the producers. And so can you say that they're fixing this game? Do you think that Family Feud is fixed? I personally think that and I have suspected this for a very long time, that the bonus round was fixed. Not necessarily the game so much. The game, yeah, for certain families, I would definitely think that is the case. And so with some situations, we have seen certain families get seemingly a second chance on answers. And I read this, again, this is not too terribly long ago. And so this was on a Family Feud episode, and it was one game. Here's somebody on Reddit had said this, someone called Dramatic-Reference 81. And this was posted about a year ago. They said, one game a while back, there was a teen that had a little attitude. And she gave Steve the wrong answer, or she gave Harvey an answer, he says, or he or she says. He said, is that what you want to say? She said, isn't that what I'm supposed to say? What? He said, you could say what you want to say. So that tells me someone feeds the answers to them. Now that's pretty compelling. That's very compelling. And this particular person wasn't naming, they made a reference to a particular race that I'm going to keep out of this discussion completely. It doesn't really matter. But I'm curious, are people prepped ahead of time? Because why would she say, isn't that what I'm supposed to say? I don't know. I mean, look, there are a lot of questions, and you could see sometimes when you watch the eyes and you watch the body language, and you ask yourself, hey, wait a minute. In the same way that referees will make a call during a game, and they know that they made a call that is not going to be a favorable call with the player. We see this in baseball all the time. And I saw this with Ohtani getting strikes called out of the strike zone, clearly out of the strike zone, 3 in 1/2 inning. I saw that recently. My point is, the umpire at that case knows he's making calls that he should not have made. because they were clearly out of the strike zone. Even the batter was just scratching his head like, what the hell's going on here? And so my question is, what about the game shows? Well, guess these games can be fixed just as well as sports games can be. And so we don't have people betting on them at a sports book. I've never seen Family A against Family B at the sports book, but I would imagine in some places around the world. Now, I know in Mexico, you could bet on just about anything at the Caliente sports books that they have down there, from presidential races to this, that, and the other, all kinds of crazy events. But I wonder if you can actually bet on the game shows as well. The problem is you'd have to see the airing the first time. It'd have to be live and everything else, so it'd have to be a world premiere. Otherwise, somebody with knowledge would be able to bet on it ahead of time, and basically that would be the fix anyway. Who knows, folks? But when we come back, I'm going to take a little bit closer look at the 10 biggest game show scams of all time, apparently. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the Sports Circus.
Excellent.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. B-E-E-P-I-N autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Excellent.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensate.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, again, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for those upcoming guests and prior guests. Also, check out the store tab. Lots of great items at the Sports Circus store. And you can see that right across the top of the page. And again, hats, hoodies, t-shirts, coats, sweatpants, all kinds of good stuff. Pillows, travel mugs, mouse pads, you name it, they're all there. TheSportsCircus.com, hit store, and if you want an extra 10% off, just say Ringmaster Sal sent you. Yes! All right, welcome back to everybody on our network affiliates and independents from coast to coast, radio, TV, you know who you are. And also on Chicago Food Favorites. Thanks for joining us over there. Again, check out Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. If you don't know what it is a fun group for food, recipes, your favorite foods, restaurants, whatnot. Make some friends, have some fun. We started out with 0, and now there's about 2,700 members of the group. And that's pretty good stuff, folks. It's organically grown, and guess what? Don't spam it, because I'm the administrator. I will boot your ass off. But in the meantime, have some fun with it, make some friends, and well, I tell you what, you could sure learn a lot. And again, this goes for everybody online. And listen, for all you flat earthers out there, it covers all 4 corners of the earth. All right. So now, in this final segment, I had gone over some items that was leading up to the idea of the old game show scandals. And so I questioned Family Feud, and just as I suspected, that the producers can change certain answers to have more difficult, or better yet, lower scoring answers, so the families can't win over and over, which I think is a bunch of nonsense. Of course, I have a better word for that, but we're just going to kind of leave that one alone. But frankly, I just think it's wrong. And so as I look at the different game show scandals, is that a scandal on Family Feud? Is it considered one? People don't seem to consider it that way, but frankly, I would consider it to be a scandal because it's already out there, apparently, that is the case. And it's for budgetary reasons or some nonsense like that. I mean, they pay Steve a lot of money. Apparently, he makes $50 million a year doing the episodes of Family Feud, and I like him. But, man, that's a lot of lettuce. And when we think about that, we're like, well, geez, what about paying the families? I mean, you're not paying the families that much money in the first place. They don't even pay for the airfare and hotel for them. They just show up to Atlanta for their tapings and call it a day. And so, gee, where's all the money going to? Oh, that's right. Possibly, maybe, I don't know, maybe just the host is getting all the money. Who knows? But how about this? How about some of the biggest game show scandals of all time? Why? Because we have sports scandals. Why not have game show scandals? People love sports. Well, they love game shows too. Well, legal eagles, this is according to TV Insider, legal eagles out there might know U.S. federal law prohibits the, quote, prearranging or predetermining in whole or in part of the outcome of a purportedly bona fide contest of intellectual knowledge, intellectual skill, or chance, close quote, with intent of deceiving TV audiences. Congress added that amendment to the Communications Act of 1960 after a slew of rigged quiz shows in the prior decade. Well, wait a minute. I had just mentioned something about Family Feud and the producers possibly picking what? Picking answers that were lower scoring for budgetary reasons. And this is, again, as I read, that was an MSN preparation of verbiage, I suppose you want to call it. And so from their article, now I'm getting this from the TV Insider with a quote from the 1960 Communications Act. And now would you say that the producers are conveniently changing things, if that is the case, by, quote, prearranging or predetermining in whole or in part the outcome of a purportedly bona fide contest of intellectual knowledge, intellectual skill, or chance? Now, it would seem to me that skewing the answers or the value of the answers falls as a violation of the Communications Act of 1960. Now, remember, this whole act was put in after a slew of rigged quiz shows in the prior decade. And TV Insider goes on to say, of course, that wasn't the end of the game show scandals. or of rigging controversies. And the stranger than fiction press your luck flap detailed is the basis of the new film, The Luckiest Man in America. And of course, below, of course, in chronological order, are their picks, TV Insider's picks for the biggest ever. 1959 is their first one. 21 was the game show. For 14 weeks of episodes between 1956 and 1957, 21 contestant Charles Van Doren had viewers of the NBC quiz show enchanted as he racked up $129,000 in winnings. Listen, folks, in 1959, $129,000 is an enormous number. Now, other contestants alleged that the program was fixed. However, and finally in 1959, Van Doren admitted to congressional investigators that producers had fed him the answers and coached him on performances, according to the New York Times. That's right. He said, show me the money, but then he had an attack of conscience, apparently. Now, Van Doren eventually pled guilty to second-degree perjury, having lied about the charade that a Manhattan grand jury and received a suspended sentence. How convenient is that? Also, he lost his job at Columbia as an instructor. Quote, I would give almost anything I have to reverse the course of my life in the last 3 years, close quote. He said amid the scandal which inspired the 1994 drama film Quiz Show, which I saw. That's a very, very good film. Now, they had a really weird one here moving on in 1978. The Dating Game actually hosted a serial killer. Imagine that. I'm not going to get into the details. Pretty nasty. But the guy actually ended up winning. But the girl that picked him on the dating game decided not to go out with him because he was way too creepy. Now, I did mention the 1984 Michael Larson scandal with Press Your Luck. Now, listen, it wasn't a scandal, and I can tell you this. I used to watch Press Your Luck as a kid, and when I watched the game, I used to sit there and watch that game with my dad every day, because he worked hours where he could actually sit and watch the game because he worked nighttime. But what I found is when the lighted board piece was in the lower right-hand corner on the old ones, and you could watch this, folks, whenever that board hit the lower right corner, when that one illuminated, you would have to press your button, and 99+% of the time, the board would not have a whammy hit. It was crazy because I could do it over and over. Now, this guy, Michael Larson, he did the same exact thing. This guy won $110,237. And it's because he had realized the game board's seemingly random cursor actually followed 5 patterns that he had memorized. Now, I memorized one of them. He memorized 5 of them. He was a contestant. He won a whole bunch of money. And it really stinks because Michael Brockman, head of CBS daytime programming at the time, said the network didn't want to fork over the prize to Larson since its standards and practices department was sure the man had cheated. Quote, I said, how did he cheat? He beat the system, close quote. Brockman recalled The Hollywood Reporter in 2019. Now, of course, CBS finally agreed to pay this guy what he had won. But, of course, unfortunately, Larson died from throat cancer in 1999 while the SEC, the IRS, and the FBI were looking for him in connection to a fraudulent multi-level marketing scheme, THR reported. That'd be The Hollywood Reporter had reported. But guess what? He figured out the game show board, and there was nothing wrong with that. I figured out the same damn thing. I just wasn't a contestant. Now, there's also a fugitive, believe it or not, on Super Password. This guy changed his name. He changed everything about him, apparently. Fake name, fake social security number, fake driver's license. And guy won $58,000 of Super Password, and UPI actually reported that. But, of course, when his episode aired, Secret Service agents recognized this guy as a fugitive, and this guy was wanted for charges of forgery, credit card fraud, defrauding an auto dealer out of a new car, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, well, let's put it this way. Secret Service was waiting for him when he got the check. Now, Bullseye over in the UK is another one. And Bullseye had a fix on it as well. And that actually, they had another killer guy on there too. So we're not going to get into that one. We don't have much time for that. But Charles Ingram, he was a guy in the UK back in 2001 on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And his wife was actually coughing the answers to him. That's right. she was coughing the answers. And of course, player Charles Ingram and his wife Diana and fellow contestant Whitlock were found guilty of procuring the execution of variable security by deception. Yes, amid accusations that Diana and Whitlock coughed during filming to clue Charles the correct answers, according to The Sun. And of course, the Ingrams had their £1 million prize canceled, receiving 18 months suspended sentences, and were each fined £15,000 in order to pay the £10,000 cost per BBC. Now, Whitlock received a 12-month suspended sentence and was ordered to pay £10,000 and £7,500 in costs. Their story hit the screen a few years back in some miniseries as well. Now, of course, there was an issue on The Moment of Truth. There was another one there. And how about The Perfect Bid on The Price is Right, where Drew Carey absolutely just gave a look to the person who bid that, hey, look, this is not honest. And in fact, Drew Carey was less than enthused when contestant Terry Neese provided the first ever right-on-the-money Showcase Showdown bid, $23,743, in a 2008 episode. And Carey thought at the time that Neese had cheated, as he told Esquire in 2010, but Neese explained to the magazine that he had studied the Price is Right episodes for months and memorized price values. That's how he came up with $23,000 for his showcase, and he said the additional $743 was his go-to pin, a combination of his wedding date and his wife's birthday. He didn't cheat. He just beat the system. So people can complain all they want. I mean, there's more and more of these things, right? Whether it's Mike Richards' past comments on Jeopardy and this, that, and the other, it doesn't matter, folks. There's fixing going on everywhere. In case you don't know, it's going on. Whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, it actually happens. But the thing that's really appalling to me is the Family Feud possibility of the producers changing the values for the answers so they don't have to pony up the money for the families that had to pay on their own dime to come to Atlanta just to compete on the show in the first place. I think, to me, that deserves an astounding round of boos. That's ridiculous. All right, folks, that's it for today's show, and we'll see you in 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. B-E-E-P-I-N autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Are you or someone you love struggling with an addiction to drugs or alcohol and want to be set free from the chains of addiction? Then call Addiction Helpline America right now to get the help you need. From drug and alcohol addiction to dual diagnosis treatment, we provide a confidential helpline to help people like you get sober and live happy, substance-free lives.
Treatment helped me get my life back. I was so addicted, the only person I could focus on was myself and what I needed. I hit rock bottom and lost everything. Through treatment, I was able to overcome those demons and focus on my family again.
I used until I overdosed and almost died. That was the end of the road for me. After seeking treatment, I now have hope. I learned skills that help me deal with life on life's terms.
800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. That's 800-426-4994.